This sucks. There's no good way to start this video for me. Today's been a roller coaster of emotions, and I haven't liked any of it. I mean, okay, there's one piece of good news, which we'll save to the end so we can end this video on a high, and that is the N64 Classic, and we'll get to that. But I woke up this morning to find out that TellTale Games put out a statement on Twitter saying they are downsizing. And initially, at first I heard they were closing, but then it was like, no, actually, it's okay, they're not closing completely, they're just downsizing. That still came with negative news attached to it though, because even though at that point they were just downsizing to like 25 members, it did get out that Wolf Among Us 2 was cancelled, as well as the Stranger Things game. They just picked up the license to make a Stranger Things TellTale game, which I can tell you would have been awesome, also got cancelled. But then not even an hour after that, they came out with a press announcement that they are actually done. They are actually closing up shop. The remainder of the team that hasn't been laid off is going to continue work on the current Walking Dead game, because the way they do those games, they're released in chapters. And as everyone downloads and plays the first chapter and they go through and they make their choices, the team then looks at how they made those choices, the way people played that game, and then they begin work on the second chapter. They finalize it and piece it together based on how everyone just played the previous chapter. So even though a couple chapters have been released already, the game isn't finished. But then after that, after they wrap up all of those chapters, TellTale is done. So let's get into it. Wood Woodiston signing back on with Wood News. Ba-bang, 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 ba-bang. Let's do this. Growing up, a lot of the games that I've loved that they have the licenses to were made by LucasArts. And when LucasArts closed down, some of the people that worked for LucasArts then founded TellTale Games, and that's how TellTale Games began around 2004. The biggest game from my childhood that's involved here is Monkey Island, a series that I've talked about a load of times, and TellTale Games kept making a lot of games from the past like Sam & Max, another great series, and they also started making their own games, getting their own licenses and properties, and making brand new experiences. Biggest game that TellTale put out there that did really well, which is why I'm surprised. There's the Walking Dead game, one of my favorite games of all time. It spawned a series. We're now at the 4th installment of this series. I thought they were all doing pretty well. I guess not. The reason why they are closing down is lack of funding. People aren't interested in the games, it seems like, which is crazy to me because Walking Dead, when that released, it was Game of the Year. So here's the statement they released on Twitter. Today, TellTale Games made the difficult decision to begin a majority studio closure following a year marked by insurmountable challenges. A majority of the company's employees were dismissed earlier this morning, with a small group of 25 employees staying to fulfill the company's obligations to its boards and partners. We released some of our best content this year and received tremendous amounts of positive feedback, but ultimately that did not translate to sales. So while I adored these games because I love a good story, I love being told a good story, and I love the level of interaction that you had with these games. They were like a playable movie, but the story and the worlds they built were so captivating that I just wanted to keep playing and learn more about the characters and dive into the story. But a lot of people seem to be on the fence. You either love this style of gameplay or you hate it, and you want more action, you want more control, you don't want to watch a movie that you're kind of interacting with. And I do get it, everyone likes and wants different things, but there was such a heavy split either way. So even though the word of mouth around the Walking Dead game spread like wildfire, and I'm sure a lot of people picked it up on Steam and sales and just in general because everyone was talking about how amazing it was, the other properties and licenses they're putting out were really hits or misses, especially with some titles being kind of weak. But I think another thing that kind of shoots them in the foot is the way they release them. I think in a way it's incredible that they release the games in chapters and then build the next chapter as to how players are playing it. Like they're making the game almost in real time. But unfortunately, what that leads to is you having to wait in between chapters, and for a lot of fans that want to just sit down and play this game through, they end up waiting until the game is finished. So I think a part of it could be here they are releasing the game. It's technically out now. Season 4 of Walking Dead has been out for a while, and sales are probably abysmal because a lot of people are waiting for it to finish so they can play it all at once. And I'm one of those people. I'm one of the largest Walking Dead fans, one of the largest TellTale fans. I can't wait to play this game, and I'm waiting until it's finished because I want to play it as one big experience. If I had have known that they were this close to closing down, I would have been backing them from the start and giving giving them as much support as I could. I didn't know. I thought they were good. I was just waiting to play it. But then a lot of other information started coming out from the people working at TellTale. Apparently, employees were abused and just not treated right at all. Here's a statement from one of the employees on Twitter. "None of my sleepless nights or long hours on weekends trying to ship a game on time got me severance today. Don't work overtime unless you're paid for it. Protect your health. Companies don't care about you." Okay, let me read. Okay, I'm just reading this for the first time. I actually didn't find this one until now. New update on TellTale, and possibly the last for today. In light of the statement from TellTale and Pete Halling, The Walking Dead final season has also been cancelled. The skeleton crew remaining at TellTale is working on Minecraft story mode for Netflix. Did they cancel the final season? Previously reported the skeleton crew will be remaining behind to complete work on The Walking Dead. That information was inaccurate. Sources who wish to, oh my god, wish to remain anonymous. Explain the skeleton crew, TellTale they're working on. The Walking Dead team was laid off today and The Walking Dead final season will not be completed. Oh, what can you do but laugh? Okay, I don't know how to put this into words for people that maybe aren't a fan of the Walking Dead games. Let's say Breaking Bad was my absolute favorite TV show of all time. Imagine if just in the last season, halfway through, it got axed and we never got an end to Breaking Bad. Like, that is the equivalent to me. I've been following The Walking Dead since 2012. It's my favorite, one of my favorite games of all time. I really wanted to know how Clementine's story ended. It really, guessing they had obligations, like contractual obligations to finish Minecraft story mode, and that's why they're focusing on that one, because they have to, like by some kind of stupid law, but they're not obligated to finish Walking Dead. So they're not. That's insane. That like this morning, these employees just woke up and they all got laid off, and that's it. That's it. After the success that was Walking Dead in 2012, game of the freaking year. I hope against hope that somehow, some way, sometime in the future, that Walking Dead game gets finished or funded or something after. I don't know. In good news. Right on the back of PlayStation Classic being announced, the patent for the N64 Classic has apparently, it seems like it's been approved. Some of you may remember, but like a year ago, more than a year ago at this point, Nintendo filed for this N64 patent, and back then everyone made their N64 Classic speculation videos. When was it going to be announced? What games it was going to have? I made my video talking about all the games I thought it was going to have, the games that the must-have games that this system should have, and by all means, click the link down below and watch the game. That nothing has changed. We haven't really heard anything about it since then, and I assumed the biggest struggle was getting the licenses to a lot of these rare games that need to be on the system because Microsoft owns them now. But even back then and all through now, my mindset has been, well, Microsoft and Nintendo are best friends right now. They're allowing crossplay between each other. You can earn achievements on your Xbox playing on your Switch if you're playing things like Minecraft. I believe they have a really good friendship and relationship right now. So really, I wouldn't think it'd be an issue. Microsoft is sat on this license and they're not doing anything with a lot of the games, and I doubt the rare license is making them a whole lot of money right now. So letting Nintendo use these and then getting a little bit of sales kicked back to Microsoft for letting them use the license wouldn't be a bad trade-off for either company. But it turns out this entire time, the patent that Nintendo filed has been going back and forth and even got denied back in January. They weren't allowed to make the N64 Classic. I'm not sure how any of this works, but it got denied in January, and now, finally, apparently today of all days, right after PlayStation Classic, it got approved. And the thing that ties it to an N64 Classic, and most likely it actually being that, is the logo that was filed with the trademark is a similar simplistic logo that we saw on the NES Classic. So now the rumor mill is running wild with when will this thing be released, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see this thing released in December of this year. Again, I wouldn't be surprised if Nintendo has already launched this thing into production and there's machines going crazy right now as we speak, pumping these bad boys out, putting them into boxes and getting them shipped to GameStop as soon as possible. I bet you it either releases like the last week of November or like the 1st or 2nd of December, because the PlayStation Classic is right now set for December 3rd. I would like to see, just because it would be funny, Nintendo come in, Nintendo 64 swinging, and release it a week or so beforehand. Again, if you want to see what games I think it should have, look down below, but there's no reason for it not to have the rare games, again, with Microsoft lending a hand. And I think the only game we're going to be missing that we're all going to want to see is GoldenEye. A lot of people have pointed out that the licenses there are an absolute mess. It's a whole mess of movie rights and actor licenses and a whole ton of things that might prevent this game from being sold again on the 64 Classic, but I would personally be happy with Perfect Dark on it instead. I know, it's such a staple game. GoldenEye and the 64 go together, and I know, but at the end of the day, it might just be what it is, and there are so many other fantastic N64 games for you to play instead, and Perfect Dark is a pretty good replacement. Not as good, but pretty good. With all that being said, I would love to know what you guys think of the two things I talked about today, so let me know down below. I can't believe that on video, I discovered that Walking Dead was canceled. That goes beyond like, oh, my childhood, oh, Monkey Island. Like, I don't think they were gonna make a Monkey Island game again. I highly doubt the last one sold that well. The voice of Clementine, Melissa, is actually a friend of mine. We did a podcast together recently, and if you wanna check that out, links down below. We talked about TellTale. We talked about a bunch of stuff to do with TellTale, because I guess she would have been laid off as well, right? I mean, no more Clementine. Man, this sucks. For everyone. All right, guys, I'm hurting inside. Thanks for sticking around. Subscribe if you liked this video or you learned a little something. Click or tap on this video right here because it was probably better than this one. And hey, you know you missed it. Catch up. It helps. Oh, wow. When I started this video and I said this sucks, I had no idea how much it was gonna suck. Oh boy. Yeah.